my name is Hemu. Today we are going to discuss BGP routing protocol configuration between your Palo Alto Firewall and your Cisco routers. So this is the lab topology which I am going to use, where I have my Palo Alto Firewall, and after that this Palo Alto Firewall have a connectivity with the outside router, which is router out. It also have a connectivity with some of the inside routers, and I have two DMZ. Sorry guys, and I do have a two DMZ routers as well. Okay, so this is the same lab which I have used on my RIP and BGP lab, right? So guys, this is my BGP 100 here. This is my BGP 100 area, and this is my BGP 200 area. Let's suppose this is your internet service provider, and this is your head office environment, right? So between your ISP and your head office, you have to go with the eBGP configuration. And between all these devices, when they will form the BGP neighborship, it is like a IBGP. Okay, so that's how we will do the configuration. Now let me just start the configuration, guys. So I'll just take the access of my routers first. I'll start with the routers configuration. Let me decrease the size. And guys, to do that router configuration, I will use my same script which we have created during the lab, during the RIP protocol practical. And guys, in this particular CLI template, we just have a IP configuration on routers. What is the IP address we have to configure? How to configure telnet on all these devices, and how to configure SHS and HTTPS services. So these are the things. So I'll go here into my R1 router. I'll go here, enable, then conf t, and I'll just copy my configuration from here till the end. What it will configure the IP address. It will create some loopback interfaces. It will enable the telnet. It will enable the SHS, and it will enable the HTTPS or HTTP protocol. I did the config. You can validate the things. So IP interface brief. You can check here. I have configured my fast Ethernet interface, which is connecting with my firewall, and I have configured these loopback interfaces. Now I'll go here and I'll just configure my inside R2 router. Enable conf t. Just a guy normal IP configuration. Go here and you can put. It's done. Do so IP interface brief. You can check. IP interface brief. Right, we just have these two interfaces where we have configured the IP address, right? Now, even though I can also check the connectivity 10.1.1.2. Oh, sorry guys, because I think I have not configured anything on R3, so that's fine. Let me just go ahead and let's do the configuration on my R3 router. Once I'll do that, ping will work. So I'll copy the content from here till here. Go ahead and paste. As soon as you just paste this config, now you will do the ping. See, ping is working. Do so IP interface brief. You can see I've configured my inside R3 router, which is this one, where I have configured this IP address, and these are the loopback interfaces. I'll go here. enable conft for DMZR4. This is the configuration which we need to do. Just copy and I'll just paste. Do show IP interface. Believe you can check. It has the IP address, it has the loopback interface, which is our main goal. Now just copy the same thing for DMZ to R5 router. And after that, your Palo Alto config will start. The Palo Alto config I will do from scratch. Don't worry. Do show history. If I run this command, you can see it will not capture much information, but this is the script which I have run, right? Host name, configuration, interface IP configuration, then some loopback interface creation. That's it. Simple script only. Now let's do the Palo Alto Firewall configuration. So for that, I will take the Palo Alto access. Increase the size. Admin. Old password is admin. New password is admin add 123. Admin add 123. Because I have admin. Old password is admin. Capital A with admin add 123. Capital A admin B add 123. So last time I'll just put a small admin, so that's why it was not taking when I was trying to set up the new password, right? So let's wait here. Configure, set, device config, system, IP-address 192.168.137.10, netmask 255.255.255.0, default gateway 192.168.137.2, set device config, system, type static, and let's do the command, because remaining thing I will do from the graphical user interface, because you know from CLI we are doing from long, right? So let's wait here. Let's wait for this commit to complete. I'll go here. I'll just log in with that new IP 192.168.137.10. Click on proceed. Login, admin at 123. And let me take the SHS as well for this device. So now my login is working. So let's wait here. Accept the public key for this connection, increase the font size. Now this we can close, not needed at all. Let's wait here. But it's a Palo Alto 10, so sometimes it will take like some time to come up properly. So we have to wait. Now what you have to do, guys, first thing you have to go to into your device tab, setup, management, general settings. And in this general setting, we have to configure the host name, domain name, time zone. Configure the host name, Palo Alto Firewall 01, domain name, lab.local, banner. This is my firewall for routing lab, time zone, Asia Kolkata. Because I'm in India, so I will configure Asia Kolkata and everything is fine. Go ahead, save the config. Now you can go here to service. From this service, you have to make sure this particular updates.paloaltonetworks.com URL is there. Configure the primary DNS server 8.8.8.8, 4.2.2.2. So guys, in production environment, generally you have to put your organization DNS servers, okay? And NTP is 0.n.pool.ntp.org. And this is the one, but let me just search. Public India NTP server 0.n.pool.ntp.org. Now you have to go to into interfaces tab, and if you want to change anything, any IP address you can change from here. If you want to enable any other service, you can change here. Now you can go ahead and just configure the subnet of your jump server from where you want to access this particular device always. This is the one thing which you need to do. Now what we will do, now we will do the interface configuration. I will just delete this default virtual router. I'll just create one virtual router. I'll give the name VR01. I'll go here into the zones. I'll create some zones outside. Type is L3. Then inside, type is layer 3. Then we have DMZ1. And we have DMZ2. So now we have created the virtual router. We have created the zone details. Now you can go into your interface management here in the network profiles section. Go here and just create a interface management profile with just ping service. Now go into this interfaces. Now you can just do the interface configuration. Even though everything you can create from this interface menu as well, but this thing we have seen multiple times, right? So this is the another way of doing the things. Select your virtual router, select your zone, IP4 address 150.1.0.250/24. Make the interface in up state and call your interface management profile. Click on OK. Now go here. This is my inside interface. Type is layer 3. this virtual router and your inside zone, and IP address is 10.1.0.250/24. Up interface management by which is ping. Now Ethernet 1/3. This is my DMZ01. Interface type is layer 3. VR0. This is my DMZ1 interface and IPv4 address is 10.1. Sorry, 10.2.0.250/24 because this is the series I'm using here, like 10.2.0.0/24 series. Change the link state which is up and configure the interface management profile which is ping. Now repeat the same thing for Ethernet 1/4. DMZ2 layer 3. Configure your security zone which is DMZ2 and IP address is 10.3.0.250/24. 10.3.0.250/24. Now you can see we have successfully configured the IP address here on these interfaces. Go ahead and just do the commit. Now once this commit will complete, if you run this console interface all, nothing is available, right? But when this commit will complete, you're able to see everything. So jobs all, you can see one commit job is going on. So job ID, which is 3, it's at 0%. So you can track from here as well. If you want to know more about this commit process, you can run the debug. This is the daemon where you will get all the details, right? You can see phase 1 has been completed, phase 2 has been completed with regards to the commit. So you have to just run this on tail follow yes mplog ms.log. It's at 99%. Let's wait here. And in 99%, I hope you can able to see the details. Now you can see your IP address has been configured. Now from this device, we will initiate a ping to source 151.0.250 to host 151.0.1. I'm pinging outside R1 router, which is pingable. Now ping source 10.1.0.250 to host 10.1.0.1. Ping is working. Let's try to ping 2 then towards DMZ1. Ping is working. Now just try to ping 3, which is DMZ2. Ping is working, means I have the connectivity. Show routing route. You can check. I have just all my connected routes are there. So routing fib. This is my forwarding information base. Now let's start the routing configuration because we are good to go with the routing configuration. So I will start the routing configuration with my routers. Just make some space here. And I'll just start with outside R1 router. So I'll go here. And the very first command on this router which I will run is router BGP 200 network 151.0.0, mask is 255.255, then 248.0, and it will include all the IPs, right? All these 8 IP addresses will be included on this one. If you don't want to go in this way, what you can do? You can just run one by one, right? You can add all your subnets just one by one. Then neighbor, what is the neighbor IP address? Neighbor IP address is 151.0.250. The remote AS. What is the remote AS? Remote AS is 100. Exit. Do right, ma'am. Now you can go into your R2 and let's do the same configuration. Enable conft router BGP 100 network 10.1.0.0 mask 255.255.255.0. We have another one which is 10.1.1.0. Then we have two neighbors here with regards to R2. One is Palo Alto Firewall and another one is R3 router. So I will just neighbor 10.1.0.250 and remote AS is 100 because they are in same autonomous system. Then I have the another neighbor is 10.1.1.2. 2, right, ma'am? Go into your inside R3 router. Enable conft router BGP router BGP 100 network 10.1.1.0 mask 255.255.255.0. Here let me just add all these subnets one by one instead of putting the summary address. Then we have a 10.1.1.2.0. Then we have 3.0. Then we have 4.0. Then we have 5.0. Then we have 6.0. Then we have 7.0. Then never is 10.1.1.1. This is the IP address of this R2 router. Remote AS 100. And right, ma'am. So IP BGP. Summary, you can check the summary. So IP BGP. You can check the neighbors. So IP BGP. So IP routes BGP. You can go here. You can check the BGP routes here. So IP route. We have some BGP routes over there, right? Because BGP has been successfully configured between R2 and R3. And you can check it out here. 1.1.3, 1.2, 1.1.1, 6, 4, 5, 6, all of them are here, right? Now, in R3 I've configured. Now I'll go into R4 and let me just enable the BGP here as well. Enable conft, then router BGP 100 network 10.2.0.0 and mask is 255.255.248.0. So it will include all your loopback interfaces, and it will include all your, like, it will include all the IPs starting from 10.2.0.0 till 10.2.7.0. The neighbor is Palo Alto Firewall 10.2.0.250. Remote AS is 100. Do right, ma'am. Go here and run the same thing. Configure the BGP on my R4 router as well, R5 router, which is a DMZ2. This device, router, BGP 100, network 10.3.0.0, mask is 255.255.248.0, and BGP neighbor is 10.3.0.250. Remote AS is your 100 and write memory. So we did the BGP configuration successfully in your routers. Now we will start the same thing into our Palo Alto Firewall. So you have to go into your virtual router, and this virtual router go into this VR0, go into this BGP section. Now here you have to enable the BGP, and what you have to do, you have to configure the router ID. So I'll configure the route ID here, which is 1.1.1.250. Sorry. So this is the router ID which I will configure. Sorry guys, actually I'm a bit sick. That's why having some problem in my, having some cold actually. Okay, so now let me just start. So we have to go to into BGP. You have to enable the BGP. You have to configure the router ID, and you have to configure the AS number. And AS number in your Palo Alto Firewall is 200. This 100. Configure the AS number here. Select this install route option. Otherwise, it will not install anything. This is the one thing which you need to do. Once you do, but once you done with that, what you do you have to do now, what we will do now, we will add some rule here, right? So we have a peer groups, peer redistribution rule. So what in this redistribution rule, what we have to do, we have to add our network details. What we have to define all of our subnet here, like we have these subnets, right? These IP address of these interfaces we have to define here. Go and add, and this option we will select if we want to allow the default route redistribution as well. Give the name, BGP red. I'll give this name. Priority, let me just give 1 here. Metric, all these settings. 1 minute, guys. So we have a journal tab, then advanced. Let me just go here and let me just first configure the peer group actually. I'll give the name here like R1 or out R1. I want to configure eBGP between this device. R1 out. Peer AS is 200. Interface is this. Interface IP address is this. Peer IP address is 151.0.1. If you want to change anything, want to configure authentication, you have to select these options. But we are good here. I'll click on OK. I'll just create this group. Now I'll create one more group like internal routers. I want to configure iBGP here. Then you can just put the details. You can put like R2. Peer AS is 100. Interface is this. IP address is this. A peer IP address is 10.1.0.1. Add here R3 or like DMZ01 R3. This is DMZ1, which is R4 actually. Interface is Ethernet 1x3. IP address is this, and peer IP address 10.2.0.1. Here you can just rename it like inside R2. Now you can go ahead and create for DMZ2, which is R5. This is your R5, right? (10.3.0.1). Click on OK. Let's go ahead, click on OK. Let's do the commit. Let's wait for this commit to complete. Commit is going on, so we have to wait. It's 99%. Now you can go here. So routing route. So routing protocol BGP peer. So we have the BGP peers here. Meanwhile, you can go here as well. You can see neighbor is up now. So IP BGP neighbors. So you can check BGP neighbor is this. This is the firewall IP. Remote AS is this. Link is external. We are using BGP version 4. This is the router ID. State is in established up from this much time, right? This is some other BGP information, right? Now, so IP route. Here you can see I only able to see this particular route for 10.1.0.0 series, and I am not able to see any other routing for 10.2.0 series and 10.3.0 series, right? So now I'll go here. So IP BGP summary, or so IP BGP neighbor. So we have the neighbor say, which is also in established state. So IP route. Here we can able to see route for 10.1.3.0, 2.0, and we have some route for 10.1.7.0, 654, right? But we don't we are not able to see any route for 10.2. Series or 10.3. Series, right? Go here into R4. So IP route, check the routing. So IP BGP neighbor is established. So run section BGP. Check the configuration for BGP, it's correct or not. This is the one which we have used. Remote AS detail is fine. So IP route BGP. So IP BGP summary. We have a summary. So IP BGP neighbor. We have the neighbor details. And neighbors is also in established state. So IP BGP route. So IP route, but we are not having any routes, right? Because if you will see here, all these peers basically they are the IBGP members. They are the IBGP members, and if I'll go here into my Palo Alto Firewall, show IP, so routing routes. So here I can able to see only this particular series 10.1.0.0/24 coming from BGP. Right, this is the BGP, but it is just a loose route actually. I have this one as well from BGP. Now let me go here inside my Palo Alto Firewall BGP. This is my remote, this is my AS number, install route. All these settings are fine. These are my peer groups. Sorry, outside R1. Let me just validate the config. I have the proper config or not. This is the interface. Local IP address is this. And remote IP. This is 151.0.1. 151.0.1. I'll go here. I'll create a red here now. Registration profile we need to create here, guys. So what we will do, one 151.0.0/24, and metric, all these settings I'll leave default. 10.1.0.0/24, 10.2.0.0/24, 10.3.0.0/24. Go here, go to into your policies, show session all. You can see I have the some BGP session in flow state right now. Let me just add some one rule who can allow all the traffic, like allow all. Any to any. I have just allowed everything. Now let's wait for this commit to complete. It's 99%. So let's wait here. Now go here. Let me go into the graphical user interface, my virtual router, more runtime stats, BGP. You can see this is the router ID. Reject default route is yes. Install route is on, right? This is the ASI. This is the local AS number. These are the peer details. Right now, OSPF neighborship is in established state, right? These are the two peer group which I am having. This is the local routing information base. This is the RIP, routing information base out. Show routing route. We just have few BGP routes only here. Means all route I am not able to see. I'll go here. Let me just check if there, there is anything which I'm missing on the config part. AS number is this. Peer group setting is this. Next up, let me just use self here. This is the one part which I was missing. And do I have the correct settings here? Like inside R1 10.1.0 250 10.1.0.1. These settings are fine. This is also fine. Let's do the commit now. So BGP IPv4 unicast. I do have some routes here for 10.1.0.0/24 2./24. So never save is available here. Commit has been completed. Now this is the routing table. Here also I'm not getting all the routes basically. In 10.3. Series, I'm just getting these. Then let me just check. So guys, in your topology, if you will see, between Palo Alto Firewall and this router R4, between Palo Alto and R2, between Palo Alto and R5, right? And between R2 and R3, they are the IBGP pairs, right? And the thing is, what used to have an IGP pair, whatever information is provided, whatever routes, if this R3 route provide, if this R3 device provide all these routes to R2, now R2 is not going to send these routes towards the firewall. It will keep these routes with here. In a similar way, if R4 provide any routes to Palo Alto Firewall, then Palo Alto Firewall will not forward these routes towards anywhere because this is the property of IBGP, right? So what we have to do, we have to just go with the route reflector concept. We have to make this Palo Alto as a route reflector and R2 also as a route reflector. So what we have to do, because if I'll go here and if I'll go into my R2 router, let me just go here. In this R2 router, if I run this command, so IP route, you can see I have these routes 10.1.3.0, 10.1.2.0, 10.1.0.0, right? 6, 7, 5, 4, all these routes I am receiving from R3 router, right? But this R3 router is not, even though on this R2 router, I have received the Palo Alto routes as well, right? This one, 10.2.0.0, 10.3.0.0, 10.4. You will see 10.4.00 is not available. Then we have a 151.0.0 means these routes I'm getting. So what I have to do simply, I'll go into my R2 router here. Now in this R2 router, I have to go inside the router. So do show run section BGP. I'll go inside my BGP process. Now in this BGP process, I have to run one simple command. We have this neighbor and we have this neighbor. These are the two neighbors I'm having, right? So what I have to do, I'll just copy the things till here. Then route reflector client. And next hop self. So it will advertise his next hop basically. Now I'll do the same thing with this device. Route reflector and next hop. Never next hop self. This is the thing which I need to do. Do right, ma'am. This is the one thing which you need to do. Now you can go to into this R1, sorry, on R3 and inside enable so IP BGP. And when I have run this command, so IP BGP, you can see now I have received the 10.1.0.0, 10.2, all of them I'm having all these routes, right? And I do have a route for 10.2.0, 10.3.0 and 151.0, right? And there is some issue with, yeah, 10.23. Yeah, this is the only series I'm having and 150, right? 4 I don't have. So now I'm getting these route. So IP route, if you run this command, you can able to see, right? Now, this is the thing which you need to do on this router. Now you have to go into your Palo Alto firewall and you have to go with the route reflector configuration. So what you have to do, you can go inside your Palo Alto virtual router, BGP, peer group. We don't have anything here. Import next hop, original, use peer, use self. I'll come into this point later. Right now, let me go here as well. I will enable the route reflector client. I'll go here and I'll enable the route reflector client. I'll go here and I'll enable the route reflector client. Yeah, guys, BGP is bit difficult protocol actually. Okay. Now let's do the commit. Now just we will wait for this commit to complete. Let's wait here for this commit to complete. %99. Now you can go here. BGP will take always, it will always take some time in reflecting. Go to into BGP. These are the peers. This is your peer group. Now in our local routing, you can view, we have a 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, 5.0, 6 and 7. I am getting all of them from iBGP, right? 2.0, and I just have these are the locals one. Let me go here. Now here I'm having only 3 BGP routes on my inside R3 router. So IP route, let me just check the routes here. Here I have these routes. I have these routes. Let me just check on my DMZ then. So IP BGP. So now I'm receiving 10.1.0, 10.1.1.0, 10.1.2.0, 3.0, 4.0, 5, 6, 7. And I'm receiving 10.2 series and 10.3 series, right? But on this router, I'm not getting the routes from BGP for 10.2.2 to the one, then the series, and also two I have here, then three I don't have, right? So now let me just look for the 3 series actually, which I am having on my DMZ2 area, right? So IP route, run this command. So right now I just have a one series everywhere. BGP, you can see. Now I get the entire one series routes, but still I am not receiving anything from here to here and here to here. And even though these routes is also not reaching till here, right? So now I'll go into my Palo Alto virtual router, BGP in advance. So we don't need to do anything here. Peer group, internal routes. Go inside this peer. In advance, route protector as a client. Route protector setting I did correctly here. Okay guys, so looks like I have observed one problem. If you will go here, if I run this command, you can see I'm only getting the routes from this series. Now you can see I got these routes because you know what I did, because last time when we have added this thing like do so run section BGP, when we have defined this particular subnet, right? This this was not working. So this is the problem. So now what we have to do, we have to basically add everything one by one here. Like I did for 10 network 10.2.0.0, 10.2.1.0, right? Like that we have to add. Mask is 255, 255, 255.0.0, right? Do so run section BGP. So now you have to add ease all these networks one by one actually. Then only basically it will fix the problem. So I'll go here because you know right now I'm not able to see anything from 3 series. So I'll go here, conf t, do show run section BGP. I'll go here, I'll just remove the subnet. Now I'll add network 10.3.0.0. Mask is 255, 255, 255.0. Then 10.3.1.0 series, 10.3.2.0 series, 10.3.4.0 series, then 5.0 and 6.0, then 7.0. Do right, ma'am. Now, if you go here, if you run this command, you will able to see all your 3 series routes as well. Right? Now if I'll go here into this R2 device, if I run this console IP route, you can see now I have almost all the routes, right? 3 series, 4 series, means I have all the internal routes right now on this particular device, right? I'll go here on my outside R1 because this problem is everywhere actually. Do so run section BGP. I need to remove this. I'll add network 151.0.0, mask 255, 255, 255.0, 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, 5.0, 6.0, 7.0. Do right, ma'am. So guys, you can see like one small mistakes leads us towards all of them. Right now you can see we have everything. We have all these routes here as well. Now let me just go into my R3 device. Now in this R3 device, I run this console IP BGP. Now you can see I have all my routes, right? So IP route BGP. You can check everything is here. You can ping as well. Ping to 151.7.1, 6.1. See, ping is working. Ping to 10.2.7.1 on my DMZ1. Then ping to 10.3.7.1. Ping is working for DMZ2 as well. Means I have a end-to-end connectivity now. So IP route. We have all the routes here as well, right? Even though I can take the telnet now. Telnet on 10.1.7.1. I will get the access of my inside R3 router. I will get it. Means I have the end-to-end routing. So guys, now let me just give you the recap again. I'll go from inside R1. Here you have to do this configuration. So run section BGP. Now in this device, what you have to do, you have to basically configure the BGP by running this command. It will enable the BGP. And after that, you have to define the BGP neighbor. And you have to define all these networks. You have to go one by one. This is the configuration which you need to do in your R1 router. Or let me just copy this configuration here. R1 outside. This is the configuration we have to do. Now we have R2 inside. Now in R2 inside, what we have to do, you can go here into R2 inside here, show run section BGP. This is the configuration which we need to. I am just going to explain this config as well. Don't worry. Now on this device, what you have to do, you have to configure the BGP. By running this command. And after that, you have to define your neighbors. And when you will define the neighbors, first of all, you have to define with remote AS. And after that, I have used these two extra commands. If you have observed, so means I am making this device as a route reflector client, configuring the route reflector on this particular device, because you know this device is connecting to IBGP peers. you will see here, this device is connecting this and this, right? So I have configured this device as a BGP route reflector, and these are the route reflector clients. So whatever routes they have, because they used to send these routes, so now whatever routes this R2 received from R3, it will forward these routes here, and whatever route it had received from this firewall by a BGP, it will forward towards his route reflector client actually. And while it will generally, what used to happen in BGP, when whatever, let's suppose this firewall, he has advertised one route which is coming from, let's suppose R1, which is 151.1.1.0/24, or let's suppose this Palo Alto Firewall advertising this route 151.0.0, which is a part of BGP. So guys, now when this R2 router, and the next of here is 10.1.0.250. This is the next hop when this Palo Alto Fire advertise this route towards R2. Now when this R2 will advertise this route towards R3, what we have to do? We have to basically, when this device is going to advertise any route towards R3, we want it can basically modify this next hop. It will add his next hop, which is 10.1.1.1 IP address. That's why I have used this command, next hop self. Means it will use his next hop IP, his interface IP address while advertising the other routes. So these are the two commands you have to define. Otherwise, what happens? The problem, what is the problem here? When my Palo Alto Firewall will send this route 151.0.0/24 with the next hop 10.1.0.250. It will advertise route like that, and it will send the route with the similar information, which means 151.0.0/24, and next hop is 10.1.0.255. In that case, what happens? Because this router R3, it will only install this route into the routing table if he is able to resolve the next hop. But in this case, he is not able to resolve this next hop because we are not running any type of interior gateway protocol. We are not running OSPF or EIGRP in a backend or RIP protocol who can provide the connectivity, right? So that's why we have used, so it can advertise his next hop. So this is the configuration which you need to do into your R2 router. Now we have an inside R3 router. Here you have to run this command, section BGP. Copy the things from here. R3, exit. Now here you can see we have to first run these commands with the network, and after that we have to define this neighbor in this way. This is the configuration which we need to do on your R3 device. Now we have a R4 device. In R4 also we have a simple configuration. So run section BGP. Copy this configuration, go here and just configure. This is your R4 device in DMZ. Then exit. Then we have a R5 device. Config is simple here, guys, on R4 and R5, because we don't need to configure anything with regards to route reflector and all. So that's why just a normal configuration. show run section BGP. Copy from here. Then exit. Now it comes to the Palo Alto Firewall. Let's try to see the config on Palo Alto Firewall. I'll go here in the Palo Alto Firewall, set CLI config, output format set, configure. So network virtual router, VR0, protocol, BGP. So this is the CLI configuration which we need to do in your Palo Alto device. I'll go here. Let me just decrease the font size a little bit. 20. Your config will start from here. You have to define the peer group, right? Then we have to define your interfaces detail like in a redistribution profile. So if I'll go here into the graphical user interface, let me show you the config from scratch. What you do, you have to do, you have to go into your virtual router, then BGP. In this, what you do, you have to do first thing, you have to enable the BGP. You have to configure the router ID and you have to configure the AS number. These are the things you have to do here, and you have to select this install route option. These are the configuration which you have to do in this particular page. Once you're done with that, and after that you have to go into your peer groups where you have to create this outside peer group. To add a peer group with the name outside, you have to define the type is eBGP, and in this eBGP you have to select a eBGP outside R1, and here you have to basically change the things. You have to give the name, you have to define the remote AS, you have to define your interfaces here, like your local interface and IP address and your peer IP address here. And after that, you don't need to do anything here, and you don't need to do anything here. And now we have an internal routers, like in our AS100. So here you have to select this IBGP, and guys, you have to use this option, use self, while advertising the routes. Use self interface. Export next hop means it's the same thing, guys. Let me just give you the idea here. So what I used to happen, let's suppose on this Palo Alto firewall, we have received these particular routes from DMZ R4. Now, when these routes will reach here till DMZ R4, what used to happen on all these routes like 10.2.1.0/24, and next hop is 10.2.0.1, 10.2.2.0/24, and next hop is here 10.2.0.1. Means this is the next hop in your Palo Alto firewall you will see. And now when this Palo Alto firewall is going to advertise these routes, it will advertise these routes as it is by default, which means when this R5 or DMZ2 R5 router receive these routes, it will only install these routes if the next hop, this IP address, it can able to resolve. here we don't have any routing, right? So it cannot able to resolve these 10.2.0.1 series route. So what will happen? It will not install these routes into the routing table. So what you have to do, or what we have to do in your Palo Alto firewall, we will say when Palo Alto firewall is going to advertise these routes towards this or towards these devices, it can just modify the interface. It can modify this next hop with his next hop, this IP address, like 10.3.0.250, because this router can easily able to reach this 10.3.0.250, right? So it can basically install these routes. That's why we are using this concept of use self interface while advertising. And after that, now we have a, now I'll go here. This is my inside R2 router. I will enable. Here I have to define the AS number. This is my local interface and IP address, and this is my peer IP address. And guys, this is the thing which you have to do here. And after that, you don't need to do anything here. Now you can go into this advanced tab. In advanced tab, what we have to configure this device as a route reflector client means, because you know, I want to configure Palo Alto also as a route reflector. And this they act as a route reflector client means whatever route I will receive from these devices, whatever route I have received from R4 router, if I want to forward them here and here, I can only able to do that if I will configure this as a route reflector device, and these device act as a route reflector client, and this will act as a route reflector server. So that's why I did that thing. Client peer type is unspecified, and this is the thing which you have to do into all your devices. See, all your internal devices. Local address, peer IP address, AS number, and this thing. And here guys, you just don't need to do anything, the simple config. And after that, you have to basically create the redistribution rule where you have to define your interface IPs with proper subnet details. So the redistribution will happen for these IPs as well. This is the only thing which you want to configure with regards to BGP in your Palo Alto device, guys. And what I will do when I will upload this video on my YouTube, I will put this particular script basically there, so you guys can refer that script as well. Thanks for joining today, guys, and please subscribe my YouTube channel. Take care.